All right. So let me repeat again the questions for situation 3, right? So student asked me questions that why transaction number 4, 5, and 6 are added when we are preparing bank reconciliation statement. In order to understand transaction 4, 5, and 6, we need to read transaction 3 carefully because all these 4, 5, 6 belongs to transaction 3. So transaction 3 says that checks received from following customers were returned or unpaid by bank. So if we understand this sentence, it's saying that uh, we received check back from the customers, right? The reason is bank hasn't paid money, so which means we receive check back from the customer. So which means whatever check we are writing to customer in order to make a payments, we receive their check back. So which means check could be dishonored or any other reasons, maybe technicals or any kinds of writing reasons that we receive the check back from the customer. So we receive from transaction 4, transaction 5, and transaction 6. So when we write this check, we are writing a check to customer, so which means money out, right? But bank return, so no changes in passbook. So in order to make balance equal, we add them back, right? We add them back. So that's why we are adding these 3 transactions, right? Second thing is, let me write down here. Second thing, a student asked me that why balance, if the balance is not equal. So let me write down quickly what was the transactions as per the previous video, 115, 250. So before that, we had a balance, 102, 568. So 1200, 18500, 2000, 18500, 2000, 200, 1200, 800, and 75850, right? So these are the transactions. So this is okay. Students said that the balance of these two is not equal. I think I don't know. We made very uh, I don't know, some kind of stupid mistake we did in the last session. The mistake was here. So make sure you fix it. The mistake was here. Cash book balance wait. Let me check this one. $115 is okay. So let me check. So I will discuss this issue next week on Friday, because next week Friday afternoon we have class, right? So next week Friday I will discuss this issue, that why I think I have to prepare this situation 3 again, because there is some kinds of misunderstanding regarding this situation 3 transactions. All right. So don't do your situation 3. Wait for my instruction for next week. You can do situation 1 and 2 when you're doing your assignments, but wait for situation 3. I think we have to make some really major changes in situation 3 transaction. Maybe there is some kinds of misunderstanding regarding all the transactions from transaction 3 to 9. All right. And another thing is there is a relationship between, let me write down here. There is a relation between transaction 1, wait, let me check a minute. Wait for next Friday. So in next Friday class, we will discuss this situation. All right. So any other questions regarding, I think situation 3, all the questions we should keep it on hold for next week. And then next week we will do situation 3 again. And then we move on to question 5 and 6, right? So let's start today's session with the control accounts. So let's start with the control accounts. So your learning outcome 4, right? Task 4 or 5. So both task 4 and task 5 both belongs to your learning outcome 4. This is your last learning outcome. So there is no any separations between these two parts, 4 and 5. So we will try to combine this 4 and 5, and then we will attempt this question. So mainly task 4 is about control accounts, preparing a control accounts, and task 5 is about a control account reconciliation or control reconciliation account. So it's kind of reconciliations regarding control accounts, right? So let's start with the control accounts. Now, what is control account? So we're going to study what is the meaning of control accounts, what is the meaning of memorandum accounts, what is the meaning of reconciliations accounts, I mean how we reconcile it, what is the reason behind reconciliation, and some other kinds of transactions like as contra entry or contra transactions, or irrecoverable debts, or we also call it bad debts. And the third thing is a suspense account. So all these kind of the terms you're gonna study in these sessions, right? So let's start with the control accounts. Now, what is control accounts? So of course, control account is a T account, right? It's a ledger, right? That's T accounts summarize a large number of transactions, right? I repeat, it's a T account. It's a T accounts. It's a one T accounts, right? That T accounts summarize large number of transactions. This is one T accounts. These T accounts recording many kinds of transactions, different kinds of transactions, right? The reason to summarize these transactions in order to minimize, that's one of the reasons, in order to minimize the number of transactions for trial balance, right? Trial balance. So I repeat again, control accounts is a one or single accounts which summarize different kinds of transactions, all right? These different kinds of transaction mainly belongs to, these different kinds of transactions mainly belongs to customers and suppliers. Customers, customer means receivables, and supply means payable. So mainly control accounts, this is the control accounts recording various kinds of receivables and payables. All kinds of receivables and payables into one account, all right? So remember, control accounts is different than accounts receivable accounts and accounts payable accounts. Of course, both are T accounts, but they are different from each other's. What's the difference? So the major difference is it's a single account. This single accounts recording all kinds of transaction in a one T account. But here, accounts payable could be more than one. Depends how many customers we have. You can be one customer, two, three. Same thing. You can have one supplier, two suppliers, three suppliers. So remember, whenever we do T accounts, like as you did in your first learning outcomes, whenever we do T accounts, if we purchase raw material from four different suppliers, Mr. A, B, C, D, so we're gonna prepare 40 accounts, right? If we are selling product to 5 customers, we're gonna prepare 5 T accounts. That's what we did in the previous session, if you remember the journal entries. We are not writing all account receivable, all customer in one T accounts. We don't do that. We make them separate. That's the meaning of classifications. T accounts means classifications, all right? But after preparing all these kind of separate T accounts for separate customer or separate supplier, we're gonna prepare one control accounts. The reason behind one control accounts, we can easily understand in one control accounts how many receivables we have, who gonna give us cash, and how many payable we have, to whom we gonna pay cash, right? So it's all about measuring your cash in and out through one account. Of course, it's different than cash, but it's giving us a future cash flows, future inflow from receivables or future outflow from payable. That's the reason we are preparing our control account, minimizing number of transactions. So it's much, if we are minimizing number of transactions, we are summarizing in one account, it's easier for us to prepare trial balance. It's very easy, all right? Why? Like here. So for example, this is trial balance, all right? So it's a trial balance. In trial balance, we're gonna write many things. Balances for many T accounts. Balance for cash, balance for assets, like for machine, blah, blah, blah. We're also writing a balance for different customers. That's a customer 1, customer 2, customer 3. So instead of writing 3 different customers, we are writing only one balance. This balance comes from control accounts, because in control account, we have 3 customers. So instead of writing 3 transactions, we are writing only 1 transaction. All right. So it's very easier for us to make the balance. Second reason, I will explain you later some various reasons, but I'm just giving you quick ideas to understand the requirements of control accounts. Another ideas behind control account is, if we have control account, we can easily track all kinds of accounts receivable and payable by looking at one single control account. With the help of one single control account, we can quickly track, right? We can make expectations towards these customers, that whether they're gonna give us money or not, or by looking at supplier to whom we have to make a payments time to time, right? So that's the reason to preparing control accounts. That's why we do control accounts, right? So I repeat, control accounts is basically, it's combining all kinds of transactions, especially related to receivable and payable in one account. That's called control accounts. All right, control accounts. So we can prepare two control accounts. One we call it receivable control accounts, all receivable we record, and another accounts could be payable control accounts, all the payable, right? So that's why we are preparing control accounts, in order to track, in order to trace, in order to give very quick glance or quick picture over the number of customers or number of suppliers. That's why we are preparing control. So number two, we're gonna discuss. So I hope you got the ideas behind the control accounts. So next one is a control accounts reconciliation. Okay, so in order to understand, control reconciliation, we need to understand what is memorandums accounts. Memorandum accounts. Now, what does it mean, memorandum accounts? Memorandum accounts provide the list of customers and suppliers, right? Memorandum accounts indicate the different accounts or the list of various customers and suppliers, right? So if we have a list of different customers to whom we already sold product on credit, right, and the different lists of supplier from whom we purchase raw material on credits, right? So remember, the customer means credit sales, the people to whom we already sold product on credit, right? And supplier means a credit purchased, the group of people from whom we purchase a material on credit. So the list of customers and supplier call a memorandum accounts, right? Okay. And you know, control accounts. Control accounts. Group of all customers and supplier. This is individual, all right? Individual, because in the list, Mr. A, B, C. Control is a combination of A, B, and C, right? That's called control accounts. When we gonna reconcile these two accounts, two different accounts, list of A, B, C, D, and combination of A, B, C, D, balance of A, B, C, D, and total balance of A, B, C, D. When we're gonna combine it, this is called reconciliation. This is called control accounts reconciliation. So the meaning of reconciliation means match, reconcile it, right? Compare it. So make sure theoretically, this balance of these and this must be equal. Equal means I would say that nearly equal, because sometimes is not exact equal. I will explain you later on, but it should be nearly equal, approximately equal, right? So this is called control accounts reconciliations, right? So let me give you another example of control account reconciliation. So let's say we have different customers, all right? So customer ABC, customer X, Y, Z, customer P, Q, R, right? Customer S, T, Q. So we have 4 different customers, right? To these 4 different customers, this is the amounts belongs to these 4 different customers: 10, 20, 10, 30, right? Amounts belongs to these 4 different customers. These 4 different customers, call a list of these 4 different customers called memorandum accounts, all right? Or simply T accounts, or simply 4 T accounts, right? 4 T accounts, because we have 4 customers, right? This is called memorandum. If you add them all, because 10 plus 20, 30, 60, 70, right? So which means you're likely to receive total $70 from different customers, right? So if you combine all these customers into one account, this accounts call a receivable control accounts, or depends. So I will simply call it control accounts, right? Now, it's really important to reconcile the balance of memorandum accounts and control accounts. Why? Of course, to minimize the errors, because sometimes when we are recording the transactions, make sure we misunderstood the exact payment of the one particular accounts, right? Or we make some kinds of arithmetic mistakes to recording the balance of the particular accounts, right? So in order to minimize that kind of arithmetic or any kinds of skipped informations, it's really important to make a balance, to compare the balances of control accounts and the memorandum account. This comparison called control reconciliations accounts, right? Or control account reconciliations. Control accounts reconciliation, right? This is the balance, right? One thing remember, when you make a journal entry for these 4 customers, you know what is a journal entry. So let's say journal entry for this one is a ABC debit and sales credit, account receivable debit, sales credit, right? Same thing here, XYZ debit and sales credit. Same thing, PQR debit, Sales credit, SCU debit, sales credit. This is the journal entry that we have to make it for T accounts, all right? Same thing. For control accounts, we also gonna make journal entry, right? So journal entry for control accounts, we not gonna indicating the name of specific customers. We are calling them as a receivables, all right? Then we make a transaction is a accounts receivable debit and sales credit. Sales control accounts or account receivable, we won't call it account receivable. We should call it account, because to make it, to indicate it that we are preparing a control account. So accounts receivable control accounts, account receivable control accounts debit, sales credit, amount 70, 70. But here amounts could be 10, 10, right? XYZ 20, 20, and PQR 10, 10, and STU 30. So that's the journal entry we gonna make it, all right? And when we prepare a control accounts or control account receivable control accounts, it's gonna be exactly like ST accounts. Account receivable increase, debits, decrease, credits. All right, this is called account receivable control account. So debit items here, if account receivable increased or account receivable decreased, decreased due to cash payments or decreased due to bad debts or any other things, right? So that's mainly ideas behind control accounts. All right, so any question? Anybody has any question regarding control accounts? Say something. Any questions regarding control accounts?
It's okay.
Okay, so it's okay, so we move on to next. So now I'm gonna give you 1, 2, 3, 5 different kinds of transaction that's really important, all right? This transaction is very important if we wanna prepare control accounts or control account reconciliations, right? So remember in your assignments, you're gonna prepare control account first, and then you're gonna prepare control account reconciliations. Right? So I'll show you later how the format or performa look like for control accounts and control account reconciliation. Control account performa, I think I don't have to explain it because it's exactly look like T accounts, all right? But I will show you how we prepare control accounts reconciliations. So let's start with the first transactions you have to keep in your mind. So first transaction called a contra entry. Contra entry. Now, what is the meaning of contra entry? Contra entry is any kinds of entry which has two impacts simultaneously. One impact increase one accounts and another impacts decrease another accounts. All right, I repeat, contra entry is any kinds of entry which is giving a simultaneously impacts on two accounts at the same time. At the same time, this transaction is increasing the value of one account's balance of one account, and another could be decreasing the value or decreasing or negative impacts on the other accounts. All right, this is called contra entry. So let me give you best example for contra entry. So the best example of contra entry is so let's say we have a customer and same customer also a supplier. Same customers is also a supplier. So that customer buy our product and that customer also supply our product. So we purchase raw material from this supplier, purchase on credit, $90. And later we sold product on credit to the same supplier, become a customers, is $100. So instead of paying you $90 and receiving you $100, receive only $10. This is called a contra entry. This is called contra entry. So what will be the transaction or what will be the contra entry for this account? Transaction will be debit accounts receivable, right? Credit accounts payable, right? So debit accounts receivable, control accounts, credit accounts payable, control accounts. Right? This is called a contra entry. This is called a contra entry. Okay, so let me make it another example. I think something wrong with the number here. Okay, I think there is something wrong. I shouldn't write the different numbers. I mean, yes, I should write a single numbers. So, because if you're writing different numbers, so better I write here $90. Right, so here will be $90. Right? So which means from same person, I need to pay 90, I need to receive 90. So I will make transaction debit account receivable control accounts. I need to receive, right? Credit accounts payable control accounts. I need to pay. No, let me check. If you do that, so account receivable increased, accounts payable increased, or something wrong, because both increased. So something wrong. So debits, accounts payable, credit, accounts receivable, because so they are paying to each others, right? One time you need to pay, another time you need to receive, so balance zero. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to debit my accounts payable control accounts. So what does it mean? My accounts payable will reduce because I'm paying them. And my account receivable also reduce because I'm using my account receivable to make them payments. So that payments will reduce my accounts payable. That's why accounts payable control accounts credit. That transaction also decrease my accounts payable. Account receivable decrease because I'm using account receivable to make up payments. Accounts payable decrease because I am using my account receivable to make payments for accounts payable. Using account receivable to pay accounts payable. So using means account receivable reduce. I'm paying my accounts payable reduce. So if accounts receivable reduce, they will be credit. So credit, account receivable. Accounts payable reduce means debit. So which means debit accounts payable, right? So this transaction called a contra transaction. When you using your same account receivable to make a payments from same payable. So, but condition is that both supplier should be same, or both customers should be the same. They should be one person who is our customer and supplier at the same time. If you making a payments to supplier using account receivable because it's the same person, that's called the contra transaction. Two impacts, right? That's the example of contra transaction. Contra transactions could be related to cash or banks or anything. So here we not focus on the cash or banks, but I'm just giving example of customers and supplier because that's much more related to your control accounts, right? So that you can use it. That's the first thing you have to remember about contra entry, right? Second thing you need to remember about irrecoverable debts. As you can see the name, irrecoverable debts. Irrecoverable debts are those debts that never pay off by accounts payable. In simple words, never paid by receivables, right? These kinds of debts or these kind of irrecoverables never paid by. So in other words, you can also call it bad debts. Bad debts, right? So let's say you have 3 bad debts, XYZ, ABC, and PQR, all right? So $10, $20, $10, right? So how are you gonna prepare a journal entry? So journal entry will be debits, irrecoverable debts, and credit, receivable, control accounts. This transaction exactly like as bad debts, only the difference is you adding the word control and you add them all together. So which is $40, right? So this is the transaction for bad debts. But normally, according to your first lecture or first learning outcome, you make, if you have 3 bad debts, you're gonna make 3 different bad debts journal entries. Here, you're gonna combine them all by adding the word called control. All right, so that's the ideas behind the control accounts. Next one is, so remember, you have to make the journal entries for all these kinds of informations. If you are making a journal entry, it's really easier for you to prepare receivable control accounts. It's really easy for you because just you have to simply write receivable control account credit because of bad debts, So you're writing here 40. All right, same thing here. Account receivable control accounts credit because of payable control. It's credit because of accounts payable control. Right? So which is anything, let's say $10. The previous was 90. All right. So it's very easier for you to prepare control accounts, which is T accounts, if you are making a journal entries. All right. And you know how to make journal entry most of them. Just you have to add the numbers. Now move on to number 3, which is dishonored check. Dishonored check. So which means customer check dishonored. So customer giving us check and check has been dishonored. So customers check bounced, right? If customer check bounced, what will be the journal entry? Customer check bounced. Debit accounts receivable control accounts, because you have various kinds of checks, right? Debit account receivable control accounts. Credit will be cash. Okay. Now the question is, why account receivable debit? Why this account receivable debit? The reason is that our account receivable not reduce. Why? Because cash book and passbook. So we receive a check. We receive check means we receive money. We receive cash. Cash means accounts receivable finished. No account receivable. But check dishonored. All right. So we have to minus. So which means account receivable still stay there. All right. It's not reduced. So that's why still increased account, because here decrease because cash increase, cash plus account receivable decrease, but here minus. So which means cash reduce, account receivable increase. Right. Next one is the cash. Cash reduce, because as you can see there, cash reduce. So that's why we are minus from cash. Right. So whatever is the, so cash down, because finally we recognize cash reduce, right? And account receivable remain same. Remain same means finally no changes in your account receivable, is still high, right? So that's why debit and credit, right? So that's the ideas behind your dishonored. Right, so keep in your mind this journal entry. Okay, so now we move on to number 5. Number 5 is a suspense accounts. Okay, now what is suspense accounts? Suspense accounts provides a balance that represent the difference between the balance of the trial balance, right? Now, what is that? What is suspense accounts? So let me draw a trial balance. What is the important reason to prepare trial balance? The important reason to prepare trial balance to find any kinds of mathematical mistake. Make sure we are not making any kinds of arithmetic mistake, right? So that's why the balance of debit column must be equal with credit balance. For example, if the balance is not equal in your trial balance, if the trial balance is not equal, which means we made a mistake, right? And what we have to do in this case, we have to go back to the transactions, check their balances, check their book of prime entry, which means the journals, and check again T accounts and control accounts. And then we come back to check whether still balance same or different. But sometime the balance of debit side and credit side is not equal, but the difference is very, very small, right? So the difference between credit sides and debit side is minor difference. So let's say minor difference is a $1, all right? $1. $1 means, let's say, here is balance is, I don't know, 459,999, right? This is credit sides, and this is 460, all right? So you can see that the balance is $1, all right? So now the question is, when we prepare our balance sheet, okay? We prepare our balance sheet. In balance sheet, you have total assets and you have total liability plus equity, right? So because there is a $1 difference between the credit sides and debit side, then obviously the balance of total assets may not be equals to the balance of total liability. And again, the balance difference is, let's say, $1. All right. Now, can you tell me, when I publish my financial report in the markets, can I write my total assets 46000 and my total liabilities plus equity is 459,999? Can I publish my financial report by showing the balance of total assets is this and the balance of total liability and equity this? Can I do that? Say something.
Yes.
Can I do that? Can I prepare my balance sheet by showing the balance of total assets 460 and total liability plus equity is 459,999? Can I do that?
Yes, you can.
I can. Answer is no, I cannot. Why? What is the principle of balance sheet? Balance must be equal. Is it equal? Is it equal? Of course not. If this is not equal, of course, amount, this $1 is a very insignificant. It's a very small number. Because of this $1, shareholder, they're not gonna lose their money, because it's a compared to $460,000, $1 is a significant small number. This $1 difference not gonna give very big impact on the shareholder decision, right? If we are hiding this $1, they're not gonna lose their money, right? So we cannot leave our financial statement in this state. We can't leave our financial statement like this, because it gives very bad impact on shareholder that your accountant, your accounting department or accounting system is very poor. That's why you are making a very small difference. So in order to give a very positive impacts over shareholders, this $1 we will write down in a suspense accounts. That's why the name is a suspense. What is the meaning of suspense? Suspense means we don't know. This $1 comes from. We have no idea. All right, because the number is very, very, very small. We have no idea where this number comes from. All right, so that's why in order to make a balance equal this $1, we will write down in suspense accounts. If this $1 is credit sides, we write down here suspense accounts $1. So balance will be now 460. If this is this side, we write $1 this side. So these suspense accounts could be a credit balance or debit balance. But remember, one condition for suspense account is make sure the gap, of course, gap between debit and credit must be very small. Very small. Now, this is not the precise meaning of very small. What is the meaning of very small? Very small means if the gap between debit and credit, of course, dollar value, do not give very big impacts. For example, my credit side, let's say my credit side balance is a $5, all right, and debit side balance is a $4, $1 difference, all right. Now, can you tell me this $1 difference, is it big difference or small difference? My credit side balance $5, debit side balance $4. Difference is a $1. Can I put this $1 in my suspense accounts? Can I put this $1 in my suspense account? Yes or no?
Yes.
No, you cannot, because compared to these values, $5, my credit side $5, my debit side $4. Compared to my balance, the gap is a significant. In $5, $1 is very important. All right. But if instead of $5, I'm writing here 5 million, and here 4,099,999, then $1 is very small compared to the balance value. All right, compared to the balance value. That's the criteria to apply suspense account. So I repeat, we prepare suspense account only the condition is that balance, the difference, the gap of debit and credit side gap is not significant. I won't say small, because small probably you confused. Significant means that difference do not give very big impacts on shareholders' decision. Very small money compared to $1 million, $1 is not much. All right, but compared to 1 million, let's say my debit balance is a 1 million, credit balance is a 990,000, 10,000 difference, $10,000 difference is not insignificant. It's a significant, it's a very big difference, $10,000. You cannot put this $10,000 in suspense account. So you have to find this 10,000. Otherwise, people steal money. They can't, accountants steal money and they can't find difference and they put in suspense account. It's like, oh, we can't find. All right. So that's the purpose to prepare suspense accounts. All right. That's why suspense account significant, a suspense account's value should not be significant. It's a very small value compared to the balance. I repeat, compared to the balance of debit and credit, it must be very small. If your balances are in $1 million and the difference is only $1, $2, or $5, it's okay. But the difference is 1 million. In this 1 million gap is a $10,000, $15,000, $50,000, 100. Okay, so did you get the ideas of suspense accounts? Did you understand why we prepare suspense accounts? Say something. Did you understand why we prepare suspense accounts?
Yes.
Okay. Now, so what are the conditions to, when we prepare suspense accounts? All right. Of course, balance not equal. All right. Why balance are not equal? So there are two reasons to prepare suspense accounts. There are two reasons to prepare suspense accounts. The first reason is a small error. Small error. I give example, $1. Maybe when we are recording some transaction, we skip or we miss any information or any transaction which give $1 impacts. All right, we made a mistake. All right, again, suspense small amounts. We made a mistake. Second reason to prepare suspense account is when any kinds of items we do not know where we write that items, and that items is small and irregular. Small or irregular. All right, let me give you one example. For example, so let me write down here any kinds of transaction means money, items, all right, which has a monetary value. Transaction value or transaction items is small and of course and irregular. For example, let's say example is postage. For example, normally you do not send any kinds of documents, any product or anything through the post, right? Normally you don't send, you never send in your business, right? Normally you believe in hand-to-hand transactions. You just manually you go and you give them, right? But once a time you transfer any items to customer, right? And you spend $2 for postage, right? $2 for postage, just a very small number. Now the question is, should I prepare P accounts for this postage account? The question is, should I prepare postage accounts because the value is $2. So the value is $2. So cash $2. Now the question is, preparing these T accounts by the value of $2, is it okay? The answer is no. Because first thing, this item is very small. Normally in our business, we do not have a small expenses. We have a big expenses, right? In our business, normally we have big expenses. This is small and irregular. We never spend it, that kind of money. We always spend 100, 200, 1,000, 10,000, so on. But we never spend this one. So is it okay to prepare T accounts for postage? Answer is no. We should not prepare T accounts. Why? Because remember, If your T accounts are increasing, your workload, your number of transactions will be increasing when we are preparing T accounts. When accountants preparing accounts, accountant try to minimize number of accounts to bring that number of accounts to that level so your balance is not affected and easy to understand for the accountant. Of course, that's one of the requirements to prepare control accounts. I hope you remember that. In control accounts, I mentioned that in order to minimize the number of transactions when we prepare T accounts, it's important to prepare control accounts. Exactly same purpose of the suspense accounts as well. If any kinds of amounts or items which is irregular, we are not paying that kind of items, and that item compared to other transaction or other item is significantly small, then we should write this number as a suspense. If you're not going to write this number as a suspense, you will miss it, you will lose it, and technically this transaction you have to write down here as an error. Means you're making a mistakes, and which give very bad impacts to your boss or to the shareholders or to someone else. All right, that's the reason to prepare a suspense accounts. All right, most of the time that's the reason to prepare suspense accounts, most of the time. But sometimes we also have errors regarding suspense accounts, right? So this is the ideas to prepare, how to prepare suspense accounts. I mean, what is the criteria, right? And what are the situations under that we have to prepare suspense accounts. As I explained you before, if any accountant or anybody who is responsible for preparing suspense accounts and that person steal $50,000, all right, and the balance of trial balance or two accounts balances, debit and credit side, is not equal. The difference is of $50,000, all right, but nobody knows. So that $50,000 cannot be written in a suspense account by saying that we cannot find the difference of $50,000. So that's why we are writing in suspense accounts, because 50,000 is a big number. It gives significant impacts on shareholders' value, shareholder investment, business profitability, business return, right? Or utilization of assets or money in the right way or wrong way. It's give very big impacts, right? Nobody gonna ignore that $50,000, but $1, $2, it's a small number, all right? So it's acceptable to write down in a suspense accounts, all right? That's the ideas behind suspense accounts, right? So any question regarding control accounts? So all these kinds of items you have to remember, right? Contra entry or contra transaction, irrecoverable, all right? Dishonored check, right? And number 4 is a suspense accounts. These kind of transaction you have to remember the impacts, the treatment, because when we do it question your task 5 and 6 next week, then you will understand the importance of all these kind of transactions, all right? Any question? Any questions regarding control account? That's all enough for control accounts, all right? So next week we will do situation 3 first, and then we move on to your task 5 and task 6, all right? So you are normally free on Friday afternoon, right? You are not free any other day, any other afternoon? Like Tuesday or any other day? Not free?
Wednesday, teacher.
Huh?
Wednesday.
Wednesday afternoon, you free?
Thursday.
Thursday afternoon, you free?
Thursday của cô Bát mà em. Sao em mà nói vậy? No. Cô Bát vẫn dạy chiều thứ Năm.
So next week, I will teach you on Thursday afternoon. Next week, I'll teach you Thursday afternoon. I mean, next week or next week onwards. No more Wednesday, because Wednesday afternoon I'm busy. Is it okay?
Yes.
Is it okay with everybody? So I'll see you next week, Thursday afternoon. So make sure you send email to Miss Tanfung. So she will remember that we're gonna study Thursday afternoon, not Wednesday. All right?
Okay.
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 So I'll see you next week, Thursday afternoon. So make sure you bring your assignment scenario with you.
So you no longer conduct any session on Zoom, right? We must go to school and meet you there, right?
Because university, that's what I can do it online. I'm okay with the online, but we receive. I receive email from university that schools open. If you want to study online, I'm okay. So it's up to you. It's your decision that you want me to teach you face to face in a classroom next week, Thursday afternoon, or I'll teach you Zoom Thursday afternoon, because schedule will be the same because of other teachers. Thursday afternoon in a class or Thursday afternoon online, it's your decision. All right?
Teachers,
Yeah.
I'm wrong. Your schedule is Friday afternoon.
That's what I told you, Friday afternoon. So I'll teach you Friday, or if Friday afternoon. So let's stick to the Thursday afternoon.
Because we learn another teachers on Thursday, so I
Really?
think,
Okay, so no Thursday, so Friday.
yes.
Friday afternoon. Okay, so Friday afternoon confirmed. All right. So now it's your decision. You want to study online or you want to study face to face? If you want, I can give you last session, revision session in the class, means face to face, not online, if you want. But it's completely your decision. So now I leave it to you. If you want to study online or you want to study face to face, please send me email. If you want to study in a class, you inform me. If you want to study online, you have to send email to Miss Tanfung, that Tanfung, that we want to study online. I have no problem. I'm okay with both options.
Yes, I will.
Yeah, but again, Friday afternoon, both options, no matter is in class or is it online. All right?
But the schedule for the session is also Friday afternoon, right?
Yeah,
Or the time?
yeah, no matter
Anytime.
in the class, yeah, anytime in the class or online, Friday afternoon, because I have also scheduled for other subjects and you also have scheduled for other subjects. Friday afternoon or Sunday, it's your decision. If online, of course, only for online, either Friday afternoon or Sunday afternoon. If face to face in the class, then only Friday afternoon. All right?
We just have 3 more sessions left, right?
I think we have 3 more sessions, one next week and then 2 weeks more. Yeah, maximum 3 sessions. Yeah, I think so, maximum 3 sessions. Because we are now, it's a 12th session. I remember last time, 11th or 12th session. All right, so we have 3 more sessions to complete 15 sessions.
But on 11th of May, we have already submitted the assignment to the office. So what will you do next?
I will change it, because you have to submit hard copy, no soft copy, because universities are open. So I will speak to the office first whether we have to do assignment through learning management system or through hard copy. I will speak to the office. If office said hard copy, then I will delete your learning management system deadline and we change it again, because we have to postpone the deadline. Yeah, so let me speak to the office first, all right, and then I will decide. All right. So now this is your job to decide which mode you prefer: online mode, which is Friday or Sunday, or class mode, which is on campus, which is only Friday afternoon. All right.
I prefer online class, but
but I don't know about others.
Another people's decision.
Yeah, so this is monitor responsibilities to talk to all the students, not right now, later, and then tomorrow, or I think before Wednesday. So you make your decision and let me know. So you have 3 more days to decide whether online or offline. It's your choice. All right. So you make your decision. Everybody, monitor responsibility. Right. So any other question? Anything else you wanna ask or anything?
Teacher, did the last video you have not sent her?
I already sent you last video.
Oh, but I didn't receive.
So please ask monitor. I sent him a link. So please ask monitor.
Let me check because maybe you just send it to me.
So let me check, and then I'll send you right now. Wait, please. So here is the link, so you can get it from here. Right. So I think I said last time, but I don't remember anyway. So any other question?
No.
Any questions? Say something. Any question or we stop?
No.
So we stop here.
Yes, we can stop.
Okay, I'll see you. So please send me email to confirm for next week. All right. Okay. Thank you. I'll see you. Bye-bye.